Hey Glamfam, Linwood here, and today I'm going to talk to you about, today I'm going to talk to you about a matter that really ticks me off, and honestly, I'm kind of sick of. It just leaves me like, ain't you tired? Because I'm tired. Let's dive in. So I found out yesterday about a news report of a little girl, her name is Jurnee, whose hair was cut. And I'm gonna go ahead and talk to you about the details, and then from there we can go ahead and get into the many different aspects of this and what this could potentially be. It's just, there's a lot to unfold with this still by the looks of it. Anyway, let's just dive in. I'll go ahead and link all blog posts and articles that I referred to in the description box down below. So of course, if you're looking for resources that I'm citing, go ahead and check those out. So according to reports, a 7-year-old girl ended up coming home from school on the 24th of March with one side of her hair cut, stating that there was a child on the bus who had cut her hair. Naturally, she's pretty emotional about it. Dad apparently scheduled her an appointment for the following day to be able to go ahead and get her hair fixed, and they got her an asymmetric haircut. For those who don't know, an asymmetric cut is basically where one side is longer than the other. You get it. It's not symmetrical, it's asymmetric, meaning like it could be cut short over here, long over here, whatever the case may be. Now, according to reports, both Dad and Jurnee decided on this style and felt like it would work for them, it would be cute, whatever the case may be. Here's the issue though. So Dad goes ahead and makes it plain that, you know what, he doesn't want anything major to happen to the child. All he wants is for that child and his child not to be seated near each other. Basically keep some distance between the two of them, which I honestly feel like is a rather reasonable request. All of these things are currently alleged, but you understand. The following day, Jurnee comes home. So this is the 26th. She comes home in tears, with her hair cut within inches of her head. And I'll go ahead and post a before photo as well as an after photo of what this is looking like. And Jurnee stated that her library teacher evened out her hair or cut her hair. And I'm assuming that they thought, this haircut is messed up, let's fix it. I don't know what the thought process was here. Here's the area of issue for me, and it's that Dad went ahead and contacted the school. The secretary answers the phone and basically states that the principal is not there, they're going into spring break, and that he's going to have to contact them back after spring break has closed and is over and they're back to school. Now, baby, like when I tell you that simply would not be good enough for most parents that I know. This little girl is a biracial girl. She has naturally curly hair. A lot of people naturally would not know how to handle her fabric of hair. And you are now taking it into your hands, someone who is likely not a licensed cosmetologist, someone who has no business putting sharp objects near a child's head, someone who really should not be touching a child's hair, period, without consent of the parent, anything like that, taking it into your own hands to cut this child's hair, which to me is highly problematic. This took place in Michigan. I have nothing else to say there. Now, just for some reference in terms of who I am and what all this means, in case you're new to this channel, I'm a licensed cosmetologist. I am a father to 2 girls. I am a school teacher in a public school system teaching cosmetology at the high school level. So there are a few different angles that I understand this from and I look at this from. So I'm gonna give my perspective. I welcome you to give your thoughts down in the comments below because who knows, maybe I'm missing something. But I will say this, if the secretary was there to answer the phone, there is no way that there was not a single person of the administrative team in the building. No way. Not if the secretary is still answering the phone. Because if the secretary is answering the phone, that tells me the school is still open for business. When I tell you, like, secretaries are usually the lowest paid person on staff, and when their time is over there to clock out, they typically don't get paid any type of overtime. So if there's no one there to answer the phone, that's usually a sign that the school is closed. And usually your admin is going to be some of the last people that leave the building because there's a lot more to be accountable for. There's also typically more than just one person in the administrative team, which means that even if you couldn't speak to the principal, there was someone else they likely could have given this up to. So that's the first area that looks suspicious to me. Now, just to look at this from all angles, of course, it could have been something where initially Jurnee cut her own hair. I understand that kids do things like that. I don't know that Jurnee would have done that and then turned around and cut her hair again the next day, especially when you look at the before picture and the after picture and you look at the level of confidence that the child has lost. It's interesting to say the least, especially when you look at reports where they are basically stating that Jurnee now will not leave the side of her parents because of this. They have literally had to transfer her schools because the parents feel like it's no longer a safe environment for her. And from what I understand, let me see here, the school board is saying that that wasn't the full side of the story, but that they're not giving their side of the story, which is another thing, because it tells you you're still looking into it. And all I can say, being someone who works for a public school district, I can say there are several aspects that can be very political. And that's as far as I'm gonna go, because, I'm not trying to get my own self in trouble. However, comma space, I'll just say that it's not always something where it's a simple cut and dry situation. One board member apparently stepped out to comment and said, "My heart goes out to the child. My heart goes out to the person who cut the hair." Said ex officio for Mount Pleasant Public School Board, Alice Jo Ricketts. I don't even know the full story. I wish I did. So of course by now it's kind of gotten wind to the public by social media, things of that nature, and many people have tried to make it a point for the school board to address it. The school board has not currently put it on their agenda, but their next school board meeting is on May 3rd. So there's an aspect for it to be dealt with then, apparently. Not saying that it is on their agenda as of yet. Now, according to the first report that I read, it stated that the principal asked the parent, would it help if we had the teachers send you "I'm sorry" cards? Excuse me? Would it help if we had the teachers send "I'm sorry" cards to you? Like, this is one of those stories where I really hope that somebody in there is lying, or that there's some misreporting, that there's something that's going on, because honestly, quite frankly, I'm tired of seeing stories where a teacher has cut a student's hair for them to walk for graduation, where a student has been told that they could not walk for graduation because of their hair, where their hair was cut at a sporting event without their parents' consent. I'm tired of seeing these, and oftentimes it seems as though this happens to students of color, which is yet another issue for me. And I understand not everyone really gets that there, but if you don't get it, just understand that you don't get it because you don't live it. It's not something where it doesn't exist, it's just something where it may not exist in your world. That being said, I do feel like if this is the case and it took place in that school needs some diversity training, every staff member. That is not something that is acceptable. Now, the school district that I work in is widely diverse, and so it's something where it behooves me to understand not only different cultures, it behooves me to understand different personality types. As being an educator in general, you need to understand that. It behooves me to understand my lane and to stay in it. To me, the fact that as a parent that you would have to change a child's school, not because of bullying, not because there was some incident where your student got in a fight with somebody, or because of behavioral issues on account of your student, things along that line, but because something like this happened not just once in 1 week from other students, but the fact that you came home one day with your haircut allegedly due to a student, 2 days later come home with your haircut allegedly from a librarian or a staff member. That is a massive issue. I don't even understand how we begin to unpack that without drawing some line of conclusion that there is a massive degree of fault on part of that educator if that is the case. A child, I can at least say, you know what, kids do certain things, impulse control is not always there, that frontal lobe is not completely developed, there are certain things that kids will allow from one another, they could have been in cahoots on this, all sorts of things. But it's very hard for me to believe that this is completely innocent and potentially this child's doing when I look at the after picture and see how this child is presenting herself in this photo. Now, that being said, I'm certain there are aspects of it that I may not see and may not understand, may not even be thinking of, and it could be something where just due to my negative exposure to these sort of things, being that let me just say, like, one of the easiest ways to test the grace of God is to touch my hair without consent or permission, and one of the easiest ways to really test my salvation is to do so with my kids, and all I can say is I have gone off on people, teachers included, for far less than cutting my child's hair without my consent. Now, that being said, I'm also a cosmetologist, so I'm extremely particular about who touches my child's hair, why, how. Like, my wife and I do my daughter's hair. For my mom to even touch my daughter's hair, there has been a certain degree of training and education that's had to take place in order for her to do my children's hair. It's not to state like I'm this person that's just so uptight and all that, but this is something that directly impacts their confidence. It is something that is very much important to them. And if you do not understand their texture, their qualities of hair, their fabric of hair, it's not something that you should be doing. And if it is outside of your lane of expertise, consent, permission, any of that, it is not something that you should be doing. That is an area of issue. This child is not at any age to be able to even consent to something like that without parental consent along with it. That is not something that should have happened. And the fact that the parents have no answers, even if it was another student at the school, there should be some answers taking place. The fact that this took place in March and it's been a full month and the parents still don't have answers is a problem. And the fact that they would still potentially have to wait until May 3rd before anything is even brought up about it is yet another problem. And even still, the fact that the school board is saying, well, this is not true, the reporting of it isn't true, but then they're not giving what the truth is yet another problem. What it sounds like is you're stalling so you can make up the best story, but that's just my perspective. Now, usually I try to give these things from as balanced of a perspective as possible, but I'm just saying something in the milk ain't white. Like, that's all I'm saying. There's a fly in the milk. Something in here is not right. It's not fitting. And it looks really suspicious on behalf of the school, because to me, if nothing else, you could have had an admin, because again, I work for a public high school. You could have had an administrator pull up the camera footage throughout the hallways and be able to see, okay, you know what, did you go in the library that day? When you came out of the library, was your hair shorter? Who all went in there? Was your demeanor any different? Like, there should be some investigation taking place. This is a simple situation. Even if that was the case, where was the adult in the room? And I'm saying this because regardless of whether or not it is that teacher's fault, as the adults in the room, we are always accountable for everything that happens in our classroom. If two students get in a fight and they get hurt, whether I had anything to do with that fight or not, I have to answer, where was I? What happened? What did I do to stop it? Why was it allowed to get to that level? Was there anything that happened beforehand? Is there somewhere that this could have escalated that I could have de-escalated? I have to fill out statements, all sorts of things on all sorts of matters. Let somebody fall. If they pass out and hit their head on something, anything, I've got to fill out a statement. Where's the statement? That's all I want to know. Because usually things like that would be public record, especially if there's an email about it. That's public record. This is literally like, this is standard education type of stuff here. So I don't know. I'm personally obviously a little bit worked up about it. Granted, again, I'm biased. Again, it's clearly a trigger point for me. So just trying to put it in perspective there, but also saying that I cannot think of a way where this would be justifiable for a school to have zero answers regarding the safety of a child, because that's literally what this amounts to, and the emotional well-being of said child, with no answers, but then you're saying that the truth is not being told while you don't come out and tell the truth yourself. That to me sounds like we're trying to figure out what to do with our legal team and what we can and can't say, because they're also refusing to give any statements currently, despite the fact that there's a demand by the public in order for them to give some sort of statement and give some sort of reasoning. There's pushback by the public to the school board for there to be some sort of answers given. And at least if those answers were given, it would bridge some of that gap in. But right now that gap is full of theories and none of them look good for the school district, in my humble opinion. Now, of course, you can take with this what you will. Let me know what your theories are in the comment section down below. But it's, I don't really know what to say here to even be any degree of positive measure. I know one thing, I'm tired. This is one of those things where it's like this story is played out, and not this specific story, like this same old routine of seeing these type of things happen to these young children, especially these children of color, where their Afrocentric hairstyles are not considered to be professional, are not considered to be appropriate for events, are not considered to be acceptable for graduations, things like that. That's tired, that's played out. And the ones who are enforcing and instilling these rules need to be sat down, weeded out, pushed out of the education system, because they had no place there in the first place. This is not the days of segregation. Even then, it was not okay. It was not right. It is not something that should be happening. And as an educator, I believe that somebody needs to advocate for this child, as someone should advocate for every child, regardless of race, regardless of creed, regardless of color, regardless of sex, regardless of orientation, regardless of religion. It does not matter. That is literally part of our code as educators, and that should be part of the standard that is set forth in that school district. I don't have anything else to say really, but you can tell me what you have to say in the comment section down below. Until next time, you guys, take care, God bless, and stay glam. You know I love you, boo. Bye.